Hey, friends, welcome back to the Insider's Journal, where we wrestle with maximizing our eternal outcomes as Christian leaders. We're in part 5 of our 6-part series on money, diving into lowering management fees on God's resources. Stick with us for bold biblical insights to steward for eternity. Let's jump in. Let me ask you a question. For a money manager, what do you think is an acceptable fee to take on the money they oversee for you? I assume it's 2% or less against the total amount of assets under management. Whatever you think is fair, I want you to keep that number in your head while we dive into this case study. A missionary family I know was headed to a corner of the world I cared deeply about, spreading the gospel. They asked me to join their advisory team, aiming to raise $80,000 for their first year. By God's grace, they raised $100,000, a $20,000 surplus. What a blessing! They asked my advice. Should I save it? Pay themselves? Later, they proposed adding the $20,000 to their year one salary, citing higher than expected expenses and recognizing their hard work in raising that money. Should I greenlight that? I paused. It's a bit of a dilemma. What would you advise them? Their thoughts are valid. They've worked hard and they both quit their jobs to get into this missionary work. There's no question they earned the money. Should it be saved for future expenses, though? They originally planned to only draw $80,000, so why not just stick to the plan? Maybe we split the baby and take half and save half. There's a problem, and I'll admit I've tricked you a little bit. We're all missionaries, managing God's blessings. Yet we often skim the extra for ourselves. Americans spend 125% of their income, as we said in part 4, chasing comfort or security. And when bonuses come, like that $20,000 or a year-end windfall, we're quick to raise our management fee, padding our lifestyle instead of God's kingdom. We're entrusted with plenty, but we act like it's ours to keep, not His to sow. Jesus nails it in Luke 16:10 through 11. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. If you have not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches? As priests in God's economy, our job isn't to hoard His resources, but to manage them for maximum kingdom impact. That $20,000 isn't a raise, it's a test. So what's the action? First, cap your fee. In Life Mastery, we align our personal, professional, family, and calling roles into a kingdom class budget. For that missionary family, I'd advise keeping their $80,000 budget and allocating the $20,000 to kingdom work. Maybe seed funding for local believers or emergency ministry needs. For you, set a management fee. For your life, you want to have that by setting a line for your life expenses. What's that line? Well, that's a spiritual decision. Making it gives you freedom to know that anything above the line can be put into service. Barry Brown is a TMP alumnus who graduated one of the groups I led. Barry wrapped up his banking career and had done very well. He and his wife have one very focused passion: crisis pregnancies and caring for the unborn. Barry decided to set the line at a place where he and his wife lived well below their means, ensuring as much of their wealth as possible would go into the ministries he was leading and contributing to. He set the line because their passion drove them. Second, sow the surplus. Picture every bonus as a potential deposit in your heavenly bank account. Like we discussed in part 4, list causes you're passionate about: gospel outreach, widows, clean water, Pray over an amount, then give boldly. Third, dream eternally. In Priority Living's Dream Master, we vision cast for God's kingdom. Ask, what legacy will your stewardship write? That missionary family could use the $20,000 to empower locals, multiplying the impact. You could fund a microfinance project like Hope International from Part 4, changing generations. Look, you're the missionary. Bonuses, raises, refunds, surpluses, they're not opportunities to raise our standard of living. They're entrusted to us to raise our standard of giving. Lower your management fee on God's money by capping your take and sowing generously. Every windfall of variable income is a chance to trust God and multiply his kingdom. This week, act like a royal priest. Review your income, bonuses, refunds, or raises. There's a good chance you'll see one before the end of this year. Set a management fee for your needs, then prepare to invest the rest into the kingdom portfolio. Contact NCF from Part 4 for guidance and share your plan with a trusted friend. Next week, I'm going to give you all the reasons why you don't want to die with anything left in your bank account. Work this out this week and get ready for the close on why you can't make your biggest kingdom investment after death. Look, if you're skimming 90% of God's money as your fee, flip the script, skim less, sow more, and watch his economy make your stewardship a legend for eternity. Could you end your life as a reverse tither?